Alright, here we go. Here's the tier list. I'm gonna just start from like I'll start from the top. I don't think anything's SS. I don't think anything's completely broken in this game that you'd have to ban every single game. I would. Under that, I'd put Makoa. Solid pick all around. Basically, he's been OP since launch, which is patch 30. I remember his launch. And they've done a bunch of changes, but still all around. And this is more for pubs. I don't play competitively anymore. So you can always carry a game on Makoa. And yeah. And then right under that, I'd start putting like DPS Cassie. I've been playing tons of big game with her today. You can just burst down the tanks. Like when Makoa or Ashe, whatever, pushes into you, you can hit him for like 1k a shot with big game for like 6 seconds. Just a really solid pick all around. Or Impulse if you're fighting just like triple DPS. You could do Impulse if you wanted to. And she's good on pretty much every map. Androxus, I think, is a more map-dependent champion. But his strengths would be like Serpent Beach. Like he can get high ground. He can play with Genos really well. And I mean, I see him on pretty much every map. Everyone thinks he's OP. Heads and Roll is probably gonna get nerfed next patch because people are complaining about him, and he's really solid. Especially with the punch resets. Khan, his ult's insane. You can put the shield up and down. You know, the immunity is really good. You can time it. You can survive ults. You can survive anything with it, really, with that immunity. And his gun's just really good. Like, you can shoot Willow out of the air with your damage bonus. So, I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to put Dredge. People in chat are asking me. But I'm not going to answer any questions in chat while I'm doing this, so. Then I have Damba up here, just because Damba, like, you have the infinite range. You have the stuns if you need them. And he just heals a ton. 1750. He used to be really insane when he had all the supports had more health. So, I think Sarah's ult's a little bit better, but his ult's pretty damn good. And you can't really go wrong. And I like Victor. I mean, I'm biased. You guys all see me. I post to YouTube. I post Victor gameplay all the time. Like, this is a tier list for pubs. I don't do scrims. So, just have to run shrapnel. Like, the grenades are insane. I like to time it. I actually use the thumb button on my mouse right here. That way I can move to the right, to the left, to the right, whatever I need to do while I'm holding a grenade. And I'm pretty used to the timings now. I didn't like when they changed the grenade to like make it throw further, but now I actually do like it. And then we'll go on to S-. This is where I started throwing in champions that aren't... They're pretty much good almost all the time. But they're not like, oh my god, you have to have this. So, I think Leon is really, really good just because Death and Taxes. That's the main reason. And she doesn't take as much skill because you got 2 auto aims. You're get out of jail free. Like, her ult's more about when you use it. Like, the hitbox is huge. The thing could go around walls and stuff. So, she's a really good introductory character. You know, she's easy to play, I think. Her sniper right-click shot, whatever it's called, it's kind of hard to hit, but... BK... BK is insane on low ping. Before they nerfed Royal Subjects, he was a little crazier. And he's gone through metas where like he was like the #1 pick at LAN and had like a 90% win rate or something. In pubs, he's really good. I personally run Royal Subjects. I mean, if you want to get fancy and do like chain reaction or something, you can, 2 bombs will kill like anything with like 2200 or less HP. So, he's really, really ping dependent though, so. And then here's a champion I don't really play that much. Drogo's, his spit's like amazing, like combustible. Like if you watch the PPL, they're all hiding around corners and stuff, and that's what, just like Victor, allows you to hit behind those corners, and he makes them so good. His ult's kind of meh. A lot of times you die when you use it. Salvo just wrecks shields. You spam it every 20 seconds. Like, he's a blaster. Like, if you can't get to him with like an Androx, like I had a game where I was going against Kliku, and he was Drogo's on Serpent Beach, and I didn't have Androxus, so I just couldn't get to him. I forget what the hell I was playing. So, but he is map dependent. You know, you wouldn't want to run him on like Frozen Guard or Fish Market, in my opinion. Nara's pretty insane. Like Hi-Rez did nerf her. I believe it was 60% extra healing when Earthen Guard was up. Now it's 40, but she's still just like, you don't really play her as a point. Like, she is a point tank, but she's one of those champions that you just once you get like 3/4 HP, you put up Earthen Guard, and if you have a decent support healer, lol. But yeah, you make space for your team. She's just, I only run her with the tanky Mother's Grace. That's what it's called. Talent, but yeah. Ying is pretty insane. I think her healing output's just crazy. Like, she's dirt easy to play. I use the new talent. It's a life exchange. Like, sure, it might be hard to do damage and right click and then press Q, but the damage is insignificant. So as long as you're healing, pretty much, unless someone's like really low or situational, but it's easy to get very high numbers of healing, especially like. You don't have to pay attention as much because your clones are doing a lot of the work for you. Decided to put Eevee here because she's not amazing by any means. She gets bursted down really easy, but in my experience in pubs, a lot of people just, if they're not on voice comms and they're not coordinated enough, you can reap havoc? Yeah, reap havoc in like the backline and stuff. Or you could just poke in and out. And it also takes a little bit of pressure off of your support because you don't need the heal, since I get, 375 every time you blink. Well, I mean, Cauterize does apply to it, but you're pretty self-sustaining on Eevee. And I'd play her on a map like Splitstone or Serpent. Something like a small map, preferably, because her Soar is kind of slow and her blink isn't very far. Plus you can get high ground and do whatever you want. But putting Lex here, I think Jaguar would be one of his best maps. If you're trying to just focus down like one person, like even today I've had trouble with Alex when I was on the Eevee. He just kept putting his mark on me. It just saw me through the walls. And he just does a ton of damage. Sure, it could be hard to get close if you're fighting people who know what they're doing on like Cassie, Leon, Victor, or BK, but he does all right. I'm not by any means that good at Lex, but I've seen him do work. Strix very, very map dependent. At least that's what I like to do. Like, I like to pick him on like Frog Isle, maybe on Fish, but on Frog I'd send a flare through like that window section and the walls, and that'll, like, if people are in range of it, it'll just keep flaring them over and over again, and then you get like, I have 3 seconds after in my build as well, and by that time another flare's up, and I also run like 50% range or something, maybe 40%. Putting Fernando here, not a priority, but definitely very, very solid. I wouldn't want to play Nando if I was going against like a Cassie who had Wrecker, or because the Cassie can just get caught as well. Same thing with Leon, but he's a lot about just peeking out, throwing a fireball, or burning them, up close. Obviously, his ult's decent. I don't think it used to go through walls. It does now, to my knowledge. He's not one of my favorite champions, but he does end up just getting consistent damage. Plus I run, 75% Cauterize in my build, so I usually will go like full Rejuvenate, and then whatever else, if I need Haven or Blast, whatever I need to buy. But you can play a bit more aggressive than this guy here, Barrack. I don't like playing Barrack that much. I think a lot of people play spammy champions like Dredge now. especially if you were to pick him early. Like, you might want to last pick Barrack in ranked, just because you might be eating spits. Like I said, Dredge, whatever have you. The spam, people play Willow now a lot more than they used to, in my experience. Oh, and his ult's pretty damn amazing too for securing things. Yeah. Oh, and I run whatever the talent is to make his gun like a projectile. I decided to put Dredge here just because I've seen him do work. Like, this is just based off pub experience. Like, some people, everyone's running Scuttle now, and just the amount of spam. Like, he can be countered, you know, if you play like Andro or something, or you have one that maybe you can get in a lot, or your team's splitting up. But I just remember being on like the point fight at Stonekeep, and he can just throw the triple shot across, reload very quickly, throw 1,000 damage at you. But I haven't seen people really playing him well in pubs that much. I mean, Helvian and Evoli come to mind. Other than that, I've had no problems killing Dredge players at all. Putting Pip down here. I like to play Catalyst. Moxie 5. It's 50% extra healing, under 50% HP. So you kind of take some of the pressure of healing off of your support player, since you can just self-sustain. Like, I don't even like to give my potion away very much unless I'm safe on Pip. Like, you could just tank like a salvo and just throw a potion on yourself if you're like 1/4 HP, and you'll be nearly full. Still does quite a bit of damage, but he kind of has a big head, and with so many people playing like Leon and Androxus right now, or Victor, like a lot of characters can headshot him, which kind of sucks. The chicken's alright, but a lot of people are running CC reduction. At least all the tank mains in their builds. You know, the guys are actually really hard to kill, so. Putting Ashe down here. I don't play a whole lot of Ashe. I like to run the talent that gives you the further range. I might play her on like Fish Market or something, because you can kind of pressure whoever you want. Obviously, there's a bunch of different styles. No talent's like absolutely amazing on Ashe. The ult's decent. Her kit's decent. Actually has quite a bit of mobility. Like her dash is on 15 seconds. I've been starting to run the card at level 5. I forget what it's called, but it basically takes 6 seconds off of your dash. So it's like 9-second cooldown. It's either 6 or 5. I think it's 6. Oh, I was gonna put Willow up here as well. I forgot. Didn't see her there. And the reason is because of the Dead Zone talent that does 800. So you just like normal attack, Dead Zone, and that's what, like a 1.4k burst there. A lot of times you're also just getting Wrecker that does pretty well against tanks, because you have the caught in your Dead Zone, obviously. The ults, meh. It really depends what's on the other team, how far up you gotta fly, or maybe you're fighting something in a casual game and they can't even hit you or something. I don't know. She's not one of my favorite champions by any means, but I've seen her do some work. And moving on, Kanessa here. Her headshot talent is pretty insane, but with the rumors of Hyra's getting rid of the burst meta, that's probably going to be nerfed anyway. I hated the change to her scope that like zoomed it in further. Her mines seem to be bugged right now, where you can only throw one. You could have 2 out, but they used to be on individual cooldowns, so you could throw them both at once and it would charge them both back up on the cooldown. Now one will go on cooldown, and you gotta wait and then 10 seconds and you can throw another. It's very annoying to me. Her mines also used to put people in combat. They no longer do. The burst is all and the more mobility over Strix is all she's really got going for her. Otherwise, you just pick Strix, because the flare. I always run the flare on Strix, and that's a lot of utility to just reveal people to your entire team. Plus, you'll just randomly hit people, and it's like 1,000 damage with the flare. It's kind of nutty. I play Kanessa. I do have more fun on Kanessa than I do Strix, but she feels a bit worse to me. And especially when I go up against the Kanessa and I'm Strix on Frogile, there's a card that goes level 5. It's 30% damage reduction on Strix. so you don't get one-shotted by her, and you can also just trade more efficiently if you're getting body shotted while you're scoping. Putting Grover up here as well because he's very solid with the efflorescence, though the effect is like bug, the green effect on the ground, whatever it is now. Just the healing through walls kind of made him crazy. Especially, I like him on Frog a lot too, just because you can always do, even at mid range, you're doing decent damage. The ult's okay, like Ying ult all day over to Grover ult, but you can't really go wrong with him. Like say you had a bad support player, all he has to do is walk around and hit Q. You know, it's very, very easy, straightforward character. The cripple helps you just deal with his flanks like Eevee or Andro. Like if like an Andro dashes once or twice, just hit him with a cripple and then all his dashes go on cooldown. Well, it is one individual cooldown, but you know what I'm saying. I was debating a little bit whether I wanted to put Genos up here, like A or A minus, but the Luminary is still insane. We are in a burst meta, so adding even more burst to the burst meta, you know, I could just imagine what big game Cassie be hitting on like an Ashe. He's very, very easy to play, though I think a lot of people just spam the mark on the same people, not knowing that you can only apply it once. I like him just because, like, let's say you're on a map like Serpent Beach, you can throw a ranged heal through the walls. It's auto aim, it's pretty damn easy, and then you just alternate. Like I'll say, in my head, I'll say, oh, I healed Fernando or Ashe, and I'll kind of keep track of it. Once you get like Chronos 2, I believe it is, you can start, or 3, you can start rotating it on 3 people. And that's, you know, 45% extra damage among those 3 people. So, I mean, I liked him. I've always liked him. Played him at the last LAN that I played. Last time I competed, actually, it was. I throw in Ruckus up here. I've been liking Ruckus, but no. Was he here? Yeah, he was right here. I've been playing him in pubs. Like a week ago, I kept like uploading Ruckus videos all the time, just because that's what I would play on stream. Just because he has so much burst with the rockets. The record really messes him up, and I'm not a big fan of the lack of mobility, but his ult's fun. He's a fun character. You can just like shoot rockets at the ground next to people if they're like behind a wall or something, so you can at least still keep them in combat. I like the aiming. You can, I don't know, just he's a good time. It feels like a DPS tank because he doesn't really do DPS amazing and he doesn't do tanking amazing. He's kind of a hybrid. I threw Tyra right here as well. She could be A or A minus as well, just like Genos. Really, her Hunter's Mark is the only thing I think keeps her really that great. Like if they dive you, you just throw a mark on like Andro and he'll get bursted down, no problem. Hopefully. She's very straightforward. The ult's straightforward. She applies a shit ton of caught. I hate them lack of mobility, but it's nice marking people so you kind of know where they are. Might add more speed to my build while marking people, but I have like a bunch of cooldown stuff right now. Burn Monster used to be really good. It's kind of meh now, I'd say. Like he can melt people just because the cripple and they can't move and all that, but I love Vic's my boy. Way over Tyra every time. Putting Torvald up here. I know it seems it is spread out, but there's a lot of people in this row just because they're all kind of evenish in my mind. I run either Field Study or Thanks Grandpa. I don't think there's any talent that's worth taking. And the 50% speed for 2 seconds can, I think he just pairs really well with like any flanker. Just the speed bonus, it just gives them a lot more options. Like if you're playing and you're like in gold or silver or something, I'd say take Thanks Grandpa. You got the whole 5 seconds. Like you don't need like any coordination to throw a mark at someone. Like once they have it, they can wait 2 seconds, go in, and then still have a few seconds left at least, you know, or just throw it on them on their own combat. Field Study may have more payoff with the burst, but I think you lose a lot of shielding. For instance, like let's say you had, I don't know, a Nara on point, and they're not, and they don't bother shooting at the shield while while it's up. You could have just been thanks grandpaing her if they're just waiting the whole time. But anyway, I go like usually just 2 Chronoses and then whatever on Torvald. I used to love him when he used to have 200 damage shots and it would have no damage drop off. That was pretty sick. He was like it was like 800 DPS a second. It was actually insane. I was playing so much Torb. I put Saris down here. This reminds me about Pip, healing Pip. I don't really play healing Pip. I just put him there because of the damage. I haven't played healing Pip in a while. But for Saris, the AoE heal is actually pretty sick. I had a game that had a really good time where I had the AoE heal and I had double tank, and like on the point fight, you're all on the stairs. It's literally hitting like everybody. Super easy to play. I mean, you could play Damba and you get more overall healing, but Saris is like, if you're newer to Paladins or you don't have very good aim, you're not confident, you could definitely play Saris. You could play her on like Timbermill or something, but you definitely want to have Mortal Reach on one of the bigger maps. And yeah, I'm not really reading chat right now, guys. I'll do it, answer any questions afterward. I put Shaw in here just because he's alright. He does have a lot of burst, but he's been nerfed down significantly since he came out. He used to be able to just shoot a normal arrow and then immediately start planting. Now there's like a delay. The knockback that used to... Was it on Desert Shadow where it like impales them into the walls? If people are in the air at all, they used to just like fly into the walls. And even if when they're on the ground now, it doesn't send them back very far and it's inconsistent. I guess it's due to lag or something. It's like sometimes they go sideways when I'm trying to impale them. And he definitely fell off when they nerfed Desert Shadow, took the 2 seconds off it, because that was pretty much the go-to talent for him. Haven't played Explosive Arrow very much lately, but... Oh, and they also nerfed his ult. It used to just show like a clone for a second, now it kind of shows him invisible and shows him walking. Yeah, I said Desert Shadow 30% to 25, right? Well, they did that to Tom too. But anyway, let's move on. Enough about him. I put Term here. I really don't play Term, but he can do work if your team plays around him. I like to use the card Decimation, and also there's one to lower the amount of damage to get your, I don't know what the hell they're called, power orbs, whatever the little calamity blast that you shoot at people. He's alright. He's more of a brain champion. Obviously, he's not more an aim champion, except a little orb thing that you get like every 3 seconds, but what's one of them gonna do, you know, unless you're finishing a kill. But putting Koga here, he's kind of flashy, but he has no range. The claws take up too much energy. It takes time to switch. They feel almost useless to me. I run Adrenaline Junkie on him, so I really don't have extra energy to burn because I'm dashing to get health and armor. Health and armor. What am I playing? Quake. Health and ammo. I'm dashing to get that back all the time. And sure, you can switch to the claws and like right click to get away, but yeah. He feels pretty slow, even though he has the walk thing to go faster and he can climb. It's, I don't know, he just doesn't have range. It's as simple as that. Putting Talus here. I run the talent that resets the whatever make. I'm so broad, dude. I don't play Talus that much. Whatever gives you your Q back, I run that talent when you teleport. He pairs really well with Torvald. He has Adrenaline. Is that what it's called? Antediluvian, that's what it's called. The 75% cauterize. So it's nice that you can grab the Wrecker, so if you're fighting like a Ruckus or a Fernando. But he fell off a lot when his damage reduction got nerfed. And I pretty much stopped playing him. It's kind of similar to what happened to Maeve. There's some inconsistencies with his punch from what I remember when they nerfed the size of it. So I'm just throwing him up there. I've seen him do work, but I don't usually play it. Buck. This guy, speaking of damage reduction nerfs, he's been nerfed so hard. So his damage reduction used to be like 40% for 3 seconds, and in one update, Hi-Rez took the time it lasts from 3 seconds to 2, as well as nerfing it down to like, what is it, 30% damage reduction. Buck is terrible right now, in my opinion. And the people that can make it work with Bounce House, like, they can win games, but you could win way more if you just played a viable champion, in my opinion. Shout out to Red Charlie. But he used to be very, very good before they nerfed the damage reduction with bulk up and stuff. I don't really want my head to be covering this. I'm starting to realize my head is covering some champions. Just give me a second to move this camera over. That should be fine. And I have my picture. Throwing Sky down here next to Buck, because that's about how useful I think Buck is, if that says anything about him. She just recently got buffed by 5 bullets, and she has a little bit more range from what I've read. Her invisibility is subpar, to say the least, compared to like Sombra from Overwatch, who can stay in stealth like all the time. There's very many reveal mechanics in the game, which are pretty meta champions. Like, you don't always run into Strix and stuff, but Strix is pretty damn good. People can just buy Illuminate and straight out counter you if you're being a problem. I just always see a reason to pick, like, basically anything in this row or below. Any of these other rows, there's never a reason to pick any of these champions. They're just kind of there. And you can win, or you can carry with them, but you could do more on another champion. Her ult's also subpar. And here I'm throwing Furia down here. Oh, how the mighty have fallen from grace. Used to be very, very good. I used to like Cherish, even when the beam was meta. And with the nerfs, I don't know why they didn't do something about the beam amount of heal. It's very inconsistent. A lot of times your teammates will just walk away from the beam while using Solar Blessing. I do find it very annoying playing against Furia when they're Solar Blessing, but I get hit by the beam as an enemy, and I get stunned, and I get damaged. So the beam's able to heal people and damage and stun. That seems a little dumb to me. I don't know why they nerfed her healing cooldown. It didn't need to be healed. They could have done some stuff to the beam. Her damage, I feel, did need to be changed. I liked her a lot on Fish Market just because her damage was so damn much and her range was so far. It feels weird that they nerfed her so hard on her right-click heal. And I think, like, there's a strong correlation, even the last game I played, the last game of the day, between having Furias on my team and losing games. It would be different if you were on comms with the people, you know, and they said that the beam was coming in to look for it, but a lot of the times I'm dying and I just see a beam go past my screen. And that's what I'll think about when I think of her, and Cherish isn't worth getting. Putting Xin down here. His escape is very good, but he has low damage. Two of his normal attacks used to do 450, and then the last hit's 700. But that's what it used to be. Now it's 2 attacks do 400, and then the last hit's 700. I'm talking about with Yomi, if you're wondering. That's all I run on him. His escapes are very good, but he does depend on his supports a lot, or just being able to get away and hide, which isn't always able to be done. I'm not sure if his projectile was nerfed. Like, he used to have a giant hitbox where he could basically sit behind a wall and then just peek out and stuff like that. And it would, like, hit people because the hitboxes were huge. I don't know if that's still the case. His ult's kind of subpar as well. It's very situational. He can't headshot. He doesn't have enough burst. I know. He's okay. Not great. You can do work on him. Putting Maeve down here. She used to be very, very good when she had all that damage reduction, and like everybody was playing Maeve. Same thing happened to Buck, where Hi-Rez took the time that the damage reduction lasts, took it from 3 to 2, also nerfed all the values. I believe that was on multiple cards. I can't remember exactly if multiple cards had level 3, but I see no reason to play Maeve. Her normal attack's pretty damn good, can be a little hard to hit sometimes in some champions, but has little to no survivability. Her mobility, if players are decent, is not going to cause players to miss shots. The mobility was nerfed since she came out. I believe if you have, I don't know what the hell her fast walk is called, but I believe the 25% extra at level 5 is about the same or less than Maeve was on release without any points in that card. I believe she was... it's just what I think, is that she was nerfed because a lot of people just can't aim. When the mobility nerfs, you know, it's the same reason Cassie doesn't have the lower cooldown with the exaction cards, that there's like a second of vulnerability, or 2 seconds even. Like, those changes were made for the casual player base, which also it just lowers the skill ceiling of the game a little bit, which is sad. But enough about Maeve. Putting Grok down here. Realistically, if you had a team that could work around the Grok, you know, if you're on comms and pubs or something, you know, you could do a lot of work with the totem. Right now, it's very spammy. Everyone's playing like Bomb King, Willow, Drogos, Dredge, just spamming out your totems. I think the totem used to have a little bit more health than it does now. I'm not entirely sure. His ult feels really good now. Like, it's fun. I feel like I'm doing some stuff on it, but you know, it's nowhere near the utility of a Ying ult. Like, I don't see why you would ever want to have Grok, except for fun, because I don't like playing the same champions over and over again, and I wish he was better. His ult used to be terrible. It didn't even used to self-heal. I forget how much damage it did, but now it self-heals and he gets to fly, and it's a longer duration, so his damage is just not very good. No, not really a reason to pick him. Sorry. I'm trying to grab Vivian. I gotta make my page smaller a second. Putting Vivian way down here. I think she's pretty useless as a champion. I think of Vivian as an introductory champion to the game. You know, you have the shield that you put up, personal shield, 15 seconds, whatever. Her Wrecker talent's pretty useful. I don't even remember the other ones, because I know the one of them's like 150% more damage to shields. Because Bitey one time we were scrimming him, and his team, I remember it was Frog Isle and he was Vivian. He bought the Wrecker. We had double tank on my team, so he ended up buying Wrecker, and I was like, okay, holy shit, it's one Wrecker, and he bought another one and another one. So he had 5 Wreckers on Vivian. I believe that her gun was doing 1,200 damage to our shields per bullet on the machine gun. We had a Ruckus and a Fernando, if I remember correctly, and it was kind of crazy, but I don't like the lack of mobility. I just don't like that champion. I think the grenade has much more utility. I think her sensor drone's pretty worthless. And this is just my opinion. Like, people say that she's good on console. Well, console's a whole different world, and people play at all different elos. I just don't find her useful. And it appears last but not least, Moji. Moji is so bad right now that I don't play her out of protest. Like, she is... I played her one game this week. I tried Toot, and I was like, oh, it can't be that bad. I'll try. I got 0-4'd badly. I got destroyed so badly I didn't even want to play any more Paladins. This is how terrible this character is. There was a point where Moji was very good. I think it has something to do with the heal stacking. Oh wait, it was the dash was on a 5-second cooldown, and then the shield was on a 7.5. So you could lower the invulnerability to 5, and then the dash to 2.5. So it's like you could I forget what the talent was called again, but you just dash and you could cancel it, 2.5-second cooldown, and it would start healing you for 600 HP, and you could do it again and it would stack, just like Damba heals stack. That's why Damba's so damn good, because you just keep right-clicking the same person and the heal stacks. Unlike Genos, you can't throwing the same mark on, or 2 separate marks on the same person only refreshes it. It doesn't heal them more unless you have Celestial, and that's only for the 10% or whatever bonus. But this is basically what I think about all the champions. Like, Paladins hasn't really changed that much in the last year. Like, the only map we've even gotten in the last year was Ascension. People are saying it doesn't stack. I don't believe it stacks anymore. Like, sorry to backtrack about Moji, but Hi-Rez nerfed the cooldowns. So I think it was 2.5 seconds added to like each one or something crazy like that, to the point where if you max out the cooldown cards, it's basically the same as the same as she used to be before without touching the cooldowns. Just very, very heavy nerfs, limited range, bad ultimate, but enough about that. Kind of made this because I get asked the same questions all the time, and I plan on doing another video, because people ask me, what's your sensitivity, what's your graphics? A lot of this stuff is personal preference, like FOV. And you can always come to my stream. I know a lot of people don't watch my stream, but if you have a question, just do that. Links in the description. If you want my Discord, if you want my builds, make sure you check the description. If you want to know where art's from, just check the description. Or if you can't figure it out, just come ask me on my stream. And this is the tier list that I made for YouTube and my stream. Subject to change next patch when supposedly burst meta is over. So, have a good day, guys. And you can feel free to ask me any questions in the comments, and I'll try to get to it.